The girl I fell for and my best friend have feelings for each other, and I don't know where to go from here. I, 28M, matched with a girl, 30F, on Hinge a little over 10 months ago. We instantly hit it off, developing a deep connection. We talked on the phone, texted, or FaceTimed each other from the moment we woke up until we fell asleep together on the phone. However, we really didn't get to spend time together in person. I was battling some illnesses that took a toll on me, such as extreme weight loss, and she had just moved here and was bouncing between jobs. A few months into this, she started developing feelings for a co-worker of hers. This led to extreme tension, and ultimately, we stopped talking for a little less than a month. However, I randomly decided to call her because I missed our genuine connection and friendship. Turns out, relationship with co-worker went really poorly, so we kind of picked up where we left off. I also wanted to call her because a circumstance happened that led to me ending a 10-plus year friendship. My best friend, 28 million, was there for me when I told him about her relationship with a co-worker and how much it hurt. He agreed she sucked and I shouldn't talk to her anymore. But like I said, that only lasted about a month. Best friend and I have known each other since 6th grade, but have only been reconnected for the past year due to his struggles with staying sober. When myself and girl started talking again, I decided to introduce best friend and girl to each other. My best friend lived 3 hours away, so we would do group calls and Xbox party chats together. We became a trio of friends. More than that, there was another girl involved at one point and talks of group sex, etc. At this point, girl and I started talking even more and more, our feelings for each other being included. I made it clear I had feelings for her, and they wouldn't go away. She said she wasn't ready for a relationship, and I respected that, but she also knew that I was wanting us to blossom into something more. We even had conversation 4 to 5 times that if she did decide she wanted to date someone else, I would have to distance myself from her to protect my own feelings. In the last month, best friend has been going through a lot personally. A hurricane wiped out half of everything he owns, was getting in fights with his family, and was having trouble staying sober. I decided to offer to let him come move in with me. I was planning to go pick him up today. Last night we got in a group call and best friend decided to spill the beans. He let me know that they started having feelings for each other, and they have been discussing their feelings for each other for months now. He did not feel comfortable coming to live with me and continuing this lie. Needless to say, I flipped out. Neither one of them had the courage to tell me the truth, and girl wanted to wait until best friend was living with me to tell me. I was most upset about 2 parts. One part being that girl knew I would distance myself from her if she started dating someone else. But it is nearly impossible to do so when it is with my best friend, so roommate. She also never told best friend that I said I would not be able to be friends with her anymore if she started dating someone else. Second part is that how long this went on, waiting, until less than 8 hours before I was leaving to pick up best friend to tell me. I was devastated by it all. I didn't sleep last night. I drove through the night to come be with my family. I just wanted a hug from my mom. I've talked with both girl and best friend individually. Best friend has agreed to not talk to girl anymore. Unfortunately, part of me doesn't believe him. I told him I feel too disrespected to have him come live with me right now. I'm a homeowner and live alone. I am cutting girl out of my life for good too. She tried to apologize and say how much she really values me and cares about me, but honestly, I think if you cared about me, you wouldn't try to get with my best friend and support system. What would you do? Am I wrong for not simply trying to accept their relationship? Am I wrong for cutting girl out of my life when I genuinely valued our friendship? Am I wrong for being willing to forgive best friend but not girl? I would cut him out too, TBH, but he's part of a friend group that if I cut out, I would actually have no friends left. Any thoughts or advice are appreciated. I'm a bit of a mess right now.
It's the funniest situation you've gotten into because you were too high. I recently attended my high school reunion, and something pretty effing funny happened. I had unknowingly eaten a bunch of edibles at a party, not knowing how much I should have taken. After about an hour, the effects kicked in hard and I started laughing uncontrollably for no reason. Deciding to clear my head, I went for a walk outside and ended up half a mile from the party at my house. Then it hit me, This would be the perfect opportunity to get some free grub from my old high school, which was now an event center. So fueled by this newfound motivation, I made my way there. It took me about 15 minutes, but eventually someone let me in. People were confused as to why some random dude was trying to sell them food, but eventually someone bought enough tickets for various types of food like chicken tenders and fries, so then it was non-stop action with people lining up behind that person eager to get their meal. And then came the speech, which was hilarious because no one recognized or remembered who I was throughout the entire ordeal. I started by saying a greeting thanking everyone for coming, and they responded as if I worked there, even promoting our chicken tenders, each priced at $3. Everyone seemed enthusiastic about it until we ran out of chicken tenders surprisingly quickly considering the number of attendees, but luckily we still had French fries, so we managed to keep serving food until the event ended. It turned out being one of the most amusing nights ever, since everyone assumed that I worked at the event center, even having fun playing around with lights, turning them off when no events were taking place. What is the most outlandish, hilarious, surprising thing you have ever seen go down in public? As a man that has reached the ripe old age of 48, I can promise you I have seen some shit go down. This one totally takes the cake for me though. I was waiting out front of a truck stop back in the mid-80s. Sitting on a park bench with a guy that had a big Rottweiler kinda dog on a leash with him. I tried to make small talk, but he was quite a sourpuss. So we sat in silence for a few minutes until the most unexpected thing I have ever seen happened right before my very eyes. While we were sitting there, a big 18-wheeler pulls in without a trailer, bobtail, so he parks right up front like a normal car would. Inside the cab of the truck with the driver is a little monkey. The dance for the organ grinder kind. I think they are called rhesus monkeys perhaps. Well, the dog spots this lil monkey and proceeds to go crazy over it. Lunging at the end of his leash and barking at the top of his lungs. Generally making a real spectacle of himself, to say the least. The driver is obviously upset, but not nearly as much as the monkey is. Actually, upset may be the wrong adjective to use for the monkey though. In retrospect, I think eagerly aggressive may be a more appropriate description for his disposition. He was pacing the dashboard back and forth, never taking his eyes off of this very aggravating dog. The driver opens his little triangle window that they don't make on cars anymore. The ones made for smokers back in the day. He yells out to this douchebag to call his dog off because it is upsetting his monkey. The guy laughs and says, "No way, I told you he was a jerk, didn't I?" Says that his dog ain't bothering nobody. The dog hasn't shut up since he laid eyes on the monkey. I promise you he is bothering everybody for several blocks around. Now here's where things start to get interesting. The driver says that if he doesn't call his dog off, he's gonna let his monkey loose on that dog. Douchebag laughs and says that his dog would eat that monkey alive. Upon hearing this, the driver leans over and reaches into his glove box, I guess. Pulls out one of those tiny baseball bats like you used to get at Astroworld or carnivals, and places it in the monkey's hand. The monkey obviously knows what's about to go down because he is now trying to squeeze out of that little triangular window I mentioned earlier. This monkey has murder in his eyes if I have ever seen it. Driver hollers, "Last chance to save your dog's ass, man." In response, douchebag lets his dog off of the leash. Now we have a situation that has escalated to the point where we have a dog jumping up at the window and a monkey screaming profanities right back at him. Well, the driver finally rolls down the regular window and out leaps all kinds of miniature primate hell. The dog never knew what hit him. Quick as a flash, this monkey is riding on the back of this dog's neck. His two back feet all wrapped up in his neck fur with one hand hanging onto an ear. The other hand, as you may have guessed by now, is steadily and mercilessly raining down blows about this dog's head and face. I mean hard blows. You can hear them whop whop whop. Well, it only took a moment for the dog to realize he was in way over his head. He bolts yelping bloody murder as he runs away at full speed. I mean, this dog is running so fucking hard he's throwing up tufts of grass and dirt as soon as he leaves pavement. In a couple of minutes or so, the little monkey comes loping back with his little bat still in hand, and leaps up into the still open window of the truck to await his master, who has gone on into the store. Parents, what's the funniest bad thing your child did that you had to punish them for while holding back laughter? 1. Walking through the Capitol building with my then 4-year-old son when a man on crutches with one amputated leg got into the same elevator as us. My son said, whispering, "Mom, what happened to his leg?" The man heard him and kindly said that he lost his leg a year ago. My son didn't miss a beat and said, "Did you check between the couch cushions? My mom says she always loses shit in there." I was appalled. The man, on the other hand, was laughing so hard he was crying. 2. While playing in her pretend kitchen, my 4-year-old was rummaging through the cabinets and says, "Where the fuck is my colander?" Before I can say anything, she finds it, sniffs it, looks at her teddy bear and asks, "Did you piss in this?" After gathering my composure, I discussed the use of daddy words 3. I was driving with my kids in the car and was almost hit by a driver making a very stupid maneuver. I responded by angrily saying, "Oh, now look at this fucking guy." My 3-year-old son then continued to repeat that phrase for about a month, anytime we were in traffic. Thankfully only in the presence of me. It was hard to correct with a straight face. 4. Not a parent, hopefully soon, but was a preschool teacher for 5 years. I was up in the 2-year-old room saying hi and this toddler brushes his teeth and drops his toothbrush. With the response, "Oh shit." The teacher corrected his behavior with, "You can't say that." He then replied, "Oh fuck, I forgot." I walked out dying of laughter. 5. My boss has Red Sox season tickets. She gave me a pair so I could bring my then 10-year-old son. We ended up on the dance cam on the big screen and my sweet baby boy decided to flip Fenway Park the bird. 6. My son was about 4 when he decided he was going to buckle himself into his car seat with no help at all. So I decided to let him give it a go. I sat in the front seat and waited to hear the clicks from the buckles. I heard "God damn it" from the back seat instead. I turned around. "Excuse me?" "Nothing." Click, click. 7. I once caught my youngest son, about 3 at the time, peeing in the corner of his room, right next to the wastebasket and sort of behind a bookshelf. When I asked him why he was doing that when there was a bathroom 10 feet away, he said he was watering the ants. Confused about what ants and why, I went over and peeked behind the bookshelf. And I found the ants. And the half donut he'd swiped and shoved back there. Along with various bits of candy, a slice of bread and most of a chicken nugget. Apparently, he had seen an ant and decided to cultivate his own little ant farm in his room. It was so absurd that I had a hard time holding it together while explaining to him that the ants would do just fine without feeding them and pissing on them. What's something a friend has said to you that changed the way you look at them? 1. I have a friend who somehow never seems down or sad, so I always thought he was just a happy kind of guy. But one day I was bitching about some stupid shit that happened at work. It was over some small exchange that didn't really matter in the long run, but I was letting it get to me hours later. After 10 minutes of me venting and saying today was a shitty day, he simply asked me, "Are you having a bad day, or did you have a bad 5 minutes and you're letting ruin your whole day?" Made me realize it's up to me to have a good day, and that he goes through day-to-day shit too, but knows how to handle it. It made me realize that he wasn't just a happy kind of guy, he was a wise person. 2. During hard times or periods of depression, I had a friend who would text me and say, "You don't have to respond to this, but just know I'm here for you. Love you, thinking of you." For someone like me who tends to withdraw and then feel guilty about it, it was the nicest thing anyone had said to me and really made me felt understood. 3. I prefer to date stupid women because they are easier to control. I knew the guy was a ladies' man and a bit of a gym bro, but did not expect that. 4. Friend of mine. We've never been super close, but we're buddies. One day, after the rest of our social group had left and it was just us, we got to talking. He'd had a partner in a project a while back. His partner was a funny guy, but he was terrible at school work. He just didn't have instincts for what teachers were looking for. The project ended up getting a really bad grade. My friend starts talking about him. He explains that he chose that guy as his partner because he fascinated him. The partner was a unique kind of guy, and my friend wanted to get to know him, to find out what made him tick. I discovered that this friend of mine was a rare kind of person indeed. He was genuinely interested in other people. He wanted to know what motivates them, and to understand their perspective. I gained a lot of respect for him then, and I've never looked at him the same since. 5. She told me, "You need glasses." Needless to say, I went to the eye doctor and got glasses. It changed the way I looked at her and everything else. 6. He once told me a story about a mutual friend of ours, which was pretty funny. Then a year later he tells the same story but replacing the mutual friend with another person. Started taking everything he says with a grain of salt. 7. A friend said that she didn't understand how I could want to be a good person when I don't believe in God. She legitimately didn't know why I would try to do the right things and be a good person if no entity was judging me from afar and there was no reward after death.